Wednesday. Ibai there at this place. Tum then, by variety, pretty much the same thing in English, of the castle. This is the case. Sometimes it's fate, destiny, or accident, whatever. So anyway, there's some sort of variety of the situation where the labour, the works of the obsedentium, this looks like a present participle, of the people who are at the present time in the story are besieging, qui, and the industry, the purpose or the energies or diligence of the obsessors, the people being besieged, vicissim in turn. So there's a variety in the fates of both parties in turn. And in clarivided, it shone bright, or it was clear with speciosus facinoribus, as facinors can be crimes or deeds, I'd say here. Speciosus deeds, there was some outstanding sort of deeds going on. Enim 4, nihil asperum, nothing was harsh. Looks like to our sense militae, to a burning soldier, to his burning with ira, burning with anger and dolor, a bit of grief and pain, maybe he's lost some friends. So videbator means it seems, it's the passive. So nothing was harsh, it seemed, to our soldiers burning with anger and some grief. And to the munitoribusses, these are the defenders, the people who had built fortifications to protect themselves. Nihil was. And here we are in that position. The munitors were running about, they were currentibusing. So nothing to the running about defenders, pro salute, for their safety. There was nothing that should be metuendum, nothing that should be feared in the gerund form, or was dire, or was too harsh. So it contrasts up here the besiegers with the being besieged. The following sentence here has the soldiers doing the besieging again, and then the soldiers doing the defending. Nam 4, it's explaining, for when the pugna, the battle, duitus, comparative, for a rather long time, had been anceps, two-headed or in either direction. We have pugna fervens, had been raging hot, the battle for some time with no result. The utrumque on both sides, we have sanguine, singular, fuso. We've had blood fused out, poured out on both sides with multus cadibus, with much slaughter. Finished, it ended. Fifth declension di okazu. So when the day ended, the sun had set, etc., then tandem at last to the fatigued. Fatigued is what we have in English. They're tired from battle to the fatigue. They were consolating. They had some rest anyway. So console with the dative means taking care to life as well. That's one of the meanings. So 21, dum. And while Hake, these things were entering, these things were going on, Luce, in the light, and Parlem, openly, nuntiatur, it was announced, dative, to the imperator, the emperor, who was per vigili, who was very vigilant or alert, and distenso cura, you could say he's distracted with cares, or he was very vigilant and taking care of things. The legionarios milites, legionary soldiers, quibus, with whom was mandated, when trusted, the cunicolorum erant fodinae, which is the digging of a hole in these rabbit tunnels, these mines or tunnels underground. So something's announced to him that cavatis subterraneous, so subterranean means under the ground, these are the cavities, these would be the tunnels, were suspenses, having been held up with tremonabuses, these are beams, and posts, sublicabuses are posts. They had penetrated to the imma, the bottom of the fundamentorums, to the bottom of the fundaments of the wall, I'm guessing, now or already. And if he himself, ipsi, had a disposition, if he decided to, they could invade, or evade mean coming out. Invade means going in. So they could come out from where they were and attack, I'm guessing. So we'll stick a daily dictionary word, a sublicus. Sublicus, sublicus, sublicibus, sublicibus. A wooden stake or pile, normally used as a support for a bridge or heavy structure. These are tunnels. Okay, back to the plot. 22, idiqui. And so, cum noctis, plurumque processis, so when the night generally or mostly had proceeded, so we're dealing with time in the ablative, so it looks like a lot of the night had gone by, had proceeded or already gone by, with a signo dato, a signal had given by an accent of the brass horns or the trumpets, so wouldn't really be an accent, but be the sound of the horns, was given to progrediendi, another gerund looking thing, that they should progress to battle at pugna, and concursum est, and they all ran together to arms, ad arma. So we have ad pugna, ad arma. There's a sound given for battle, and they ran to their arms. Et, our favourite alien, ET, and by the consulto, according to what was planned, they invaded it. So it's like here, invaded means they attacked. Mura means of the wall, so I'll have to wait for that. Utrumque on both fronts. Here we go. So it's not the forehead. We're dealing with both fronts of the wall were invaded or attacked according to their consulto. Ut, so that dum, while the defensors, they look like the nominatives here, defenders, while they are propulsaturing, while they're running forwards to drive off, pulso usually means to drive off, any periculum, it's a neuter, so while the defenders were driving off dangers, ultro and citro, here and there, good adverbs, discurrent, so while the defenders were running about here and there to drive off dangers, that neck, neither or not should the fodientis, not for the diggers who are proxima, nearby, audiratud, so that the diggers would not be heard with the tinnitus, or whatever that ringing in your ears is, so that by the dinging of the ferry, of the iron, which sometimes iron means swords, here it means shovels or something, and we have another neck, and neither, quoquam, to those who are intrinsecus, those who are inside, would have any obsistente, they wouldn't have any type of blocking, you might want to say, of the cuniculums, they wouldn't have any blocking of these rabbit holes, of these mines or tunnels, and that subito, suddenly, they could emerge at, as contrary to submerge, which means going down, emerge means coming out of, then their handful of man, or their band, or their troop, the manus could emerge without any blocking from inside. So they're trying to cover up the sound of the ringing of the irons, it looks like, so they're distracting them with periculas in other places. 23, quibus ita. So thus, ut, as convenit, has it been agreed. Looks like the quibus is going with ordained. So thus as things have been agreed, they were carried out. And the occupatus prohibitobras, the people who are prohibiting are defenders. So the defenders were occupied, you might want to say, while this was happening, as it was agreed. It looks like the latibris were patefactus. So the latibris are the underground hiding places. So in the tunnels, these were made patefactus. They were made open. The underground hiding places were made open, and evolat, out flew ex superius, a miles, a soldier, from de numero, from the number of victorums. That would be one of the cohorts, would be called the victorums. It's even in a capital letter for English speakers. And post, quem, and after whom was Magnus Tribunus. Magnus was a tribune, and Avianus a notary. And the secuted, following these, was a bold multitude. So I'm going to have to scroll here. Okay, so the bold multitude was following. So his confessors, these people who were the confessors, the people who had dug holes, Prius, the first thing, Cause in the those who are in the room or in the building, per quam, through which they had proderant, they came out into the light. So to the diggers, who would come out into the light, those who they found in venerant means they found them in the room. They on suspensus gradibus, on tiptoes, they proceeded. They came forwards as a group of them, and they obtrunculated them. They cut them down. They killed them. Omnes means all, and these are the watchmen, the vigils, all the people keeping vigils. Ex uso, from the use or from their usual habits. Morus is a habit, so from the usual customs of this gentike, of these gens, of this race. Looks like they were ex-tollings. They were lifting up with canorous voices, so they were singing at the time about the justitia, the justice and felicitatem, and the justice and the luckiness of their king, Civis Reges, who they were praising at the time. And they were all obtrunculated, they were all killed. 24. Existimabator Mars himself. So Mars himself, it is estimated, it is thought, see if, we've got some clause here, if it is permitted, by rights or law, for numina majestas, for this great God, to miscere, to mix in with hominibuses. And we're hominibuses, we are humans. And if you believe that, it's thought that he was ad fuisse, that he was present in the Castra Lucanorum. They were invading. So what I was trying to say is that they think that Mars himself was there present when they invaded this camp or attacked it, if you allow that gods can mix in with man. How far are we going? Down to there. Okay, so we had a dative there with ad fuisse. He was there with the invading Loskino when they attacked the camp of them anyway. And hoc, ideo creditum. And it is believed, hoc, this is what's believed, ideo, for the reason that, quads that, in the flagranti congressu, the congressu is when they came together, and flagranta means in the heat of them clashing together, visus looks like was seen, a formidande, someone who's formidable and very vastest and huge. God, that's a terrible place to put a comma. Someone who was armed, formidable and vast size, and he was vehens. He was participating. He was carrying scalers, ladders. So it's believed that Mars was there because there was this huge guy who was armed seen there carrying a scaling ladder. Anyway, post-ride, the next day when the exercitus, the army, was being recensored, was being examined or accounted for or addressed or something, Praecipio, with a special studiousness, with zeal, was quesitus. It looks like he was searched for, but it was non potuit reperiri. He was not able to be found. When he would have offered himself of his own accord, ultro, if this miles, this soldier, had been there, conscious of such a memorabilis facti. So he would have wanted to come forward and claim the credit if there was actually a human who had done it. So that's where this legend about Mars has come from. Okay, so he said, but ut tunc, as then, qui esset, who it had been, the author of such a beautiful facanoris, the author of such a beautiful deed, it is penitus, it is deep in ignoratum, it's deep in the unknown of things. And ita nunc, and so thus now, hi, people who had initered, those who had striven hard, qui who had fecerated, fortissime, those who had done things very bravely, to them were donati, given, they were donated or given obsidianalibus's correct. God, I stumbled trying to talk to a Roman. These were crowns of besieging, basically, when it said they were given obsidianalibus coronuses and procontian, and in front of the whole assembly, According to Veterum More, according to the customs, they were laudati, they were praised. Vetor means in the old way, so it's an ancient way of doing things. So that's it for the day.